Hi everyone. Good afternoon, Ankita. Thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon.
Hi everyone.
Okay, great. So folks, we have with us today Ankita Roy. Ankita is from Human Resources Department of Atomberg. Atomberg is an innovative company which is disrupting the electric appliances space in India. So let's talk to Ankita today to understand about Atomberg, as well as how they have actually gone about doing OKRs in Atomberg and what has been their experience. Right. So that's the conversation that we plan to have today. Right. So Ankita, to begin with, Atomberg is a very popular name in India, right? And all of us are very proud of the achievements of Atomberg in such a short time. But for a global audience, would you mind sharing with us, about Atomberg, the company, as well as about your role? Yeah.
Right. So basically, Atomberg came into existence, I think, from 10 years now, wherein the story begins with two IIT Bombay graduates, Manoj and Sibabrata, who we call Shibam, right? Who had some high-tech ideas in their mind, and then they began implementation. The first few years was mostly on high-end technical products, right? And but then they innovated this innovative fan, which we call energy efficient fan, right? It has been revolutionizing the entire fan when you talk about the fan industry in home appliances, by solving a lot of problems at a time which are also unsaid. So that is essentially our purpose. That helped us has helped us achieve great heights. We've recently launched our mixer grinder as well. So those are the two major products that we have, and we have several other products in the pipeline. But this curiosity has led us to onboard Profit.co as our tool, right? For a lot of activities. We have basically started with the OKRs from Profit.co. That is the module we are most focused on, because objectives and key results we feel will define the entire going forward, how we are going to scale up. So we have also, I think it's almost a year that we had opened our manufacturing setup in Pune, Chakan, Pune, right? So there we have basically this Profit.co has been onboarded for the entire organization, but since we are scaling up, we need a performance management system. We need something to manage our objectives so that our goals can be as strategic as we are thinking is.
Okay, awesome.
That is about Atomberg and Profit.co.
Can you give us a little bit of a background of the history of OKRs in Atomberg? When did it start? How did you go about it? What was the real reason or drive for you to consider OKRs? Yeah.
Right. So, as I was saying, mostly our journey started 6 months back. 6 months was, I think, on 2nd June or 3rd June, we started having discussions. It was way before that. It was when we started taking demos and we started onboarding. So I think it's almost a 7-8 months journey. So the reason why we decided that we need to have objectives and key results. So there were two primary reasons. Before this, the objectives and key results, they were there with Atomberg, right? But it was very difficult to manage since we are growing up. So it's difficult to manage even 300 employees. So as you scale up, you will need a proper tool wherein you will be needing to manage it. So having everything in Excel is very difficult, and it would be difficult to have a overview. So Profit.co enabled us and gave us a very good understanding of dashboard. So the dashboard has helped us, view what our progress is, how we are progressing over a quarter. And the best thing is that this happens for every quarter. So it gives us a very good understanding as well, both from the organization point of view and from the employee point of view as well. Since I am also an employee, right, I also have my OKRs in the system. So the having objectives clear, 3 defined objectives for the quarter has really helped me understand my goals in the company, and has given understanding to my CHRO as well. I mean, that is for the human resource team, but for the entire organization, it has been really helpful. And that is the reason why we decided to move to Profit.
Sure, that's great. So to summarize, you are a rapidly scaling up organization, and to manage the scale up, you decided to go about doing OKRs.
Right.
And you brought up two perspectives, right? One as an executive, right? And for fellow executives, the reports and dashboards are going to give you a very good bird's eye view of how things are progressing in the company, which is rapidly scaling up. And at the same time, as an individual contributor, you are also working with the system on your department OKRs, right? So that's amazing. So you have both the perspectives. Now, it's interesting that you mentioned that you were using Excel and spreadsheets before, right? So you decided that you wanted to adopt OKRs to execute and to scale up. But you decided to first probably experiment with Excel spreadsheets. Now, can you share with us, right, what are the challenges of using just a spreadsheet, for a company like yours, rapidly scaling up, both from an individual perspective as well as from an executive perspective? What are the challenges of using spreadsheets to manage your OKR program?
So I think the first operational challenge that I can recall is that you as working as a, for example, if I take an example of human resource team, so you're working as a human resource. So none of my peers with whom I work from operations, for example, I work with sourcing team. I do recruitment for them. I do a couple of activities for them. So what happens is that I work on certain activities, but they have no idea as to what I work on because my Excel is not with them, right? So, but that changes with profit.co, does it not? Because it gives us, I can click on sourcing and I can see what one person in sourcing is working on. So this is how on an individual level it helps. They can have an understanding, they can have a clarity, and this is very small comparison that I'm making. It can be done for more strategic objectives. It really helps in CFT meetings as well, right? You can just open a profit and have all your data here that, okay, maybe R&D team from fans department is working on this and they need support with this. So that is something that can be discussed in the CFT meetings in the cross-functional team. It's really helpful. And with Atomberg, cross-functional team is for talking from an organization point of view. So CFT is of greater importance for Atomberg because we are into innovation. We need all minds at the same place. That is how, I mean, the BLDC technology is something that we are focused on. So we need every mind on the same place. And I think that is where Profit helps. And Excel is not that effective, right?
Okay, awesome. So I think you brought out a very, very important point for a rapidly scaling organization like Atomberg, which has innovation as a bedrock, right, for your growth. And hence cross-functional team collaboration is super important. Right? Using Excel is not just going to cut it, right? Because we're not able to share, probably there are multiple versions floating around, right? And apart from that, in terms of entering, and creating KPIs, are there any difficulties with respect to that while using Excel, which you find any difference with the Profit.com?
Sure. If I talk about the measurables, right? Usually since here there's an option to create, there are a lot of options that you can create your own KPI. You can create that, right? But in Excel, you cannot exactly, you just have to put everything in words. The change, the update is very difficult. The check-in, which I was talking about earlier, is very difficult in Excel. So you just have to put everything down manually, and here you can simply create that, right? So that is an operational challenge, which is definitely helpful when we are using Profit.
Sure. And one last question on just Excel versus Profit.co is for executives who need reports and dashboards across the company, across departments, how does Excel compare with Profit.com?
I mean, that is here you can simply download a presentation. On Profit, you can simply download the presentation and entire thing will be visible in graphs. Automated create of charts are there, graphs are there. But in Excel, you have to sit with an MIS executive. You have to get an understanding as to how the function is doing. For example, if you're looking from a function perspective. Organizational, though, it's almost difficult to view because so many Excels cannot be, I mean, it's very difficult to compare everything.
Okay.
Just talking from a department also, it's really helpful.
Sure. Great. Thanks a lot for sharing the perspective. Now, you're about to run one full quarter on OKRs. You had one learning quarter. Just not on Profit.co, but on OKRs itself. right? OKRs itself as a management philosophy. I know you're a management graduate. It OKRs as a management philosophy for a rapidly scaling up organization like Atomberg. What has been your experience? Right? Are OKRs helping you? What sort of impact has OKRs made in the first quarter?
Yeah. Yeah. So coming to the at least so we are not yet we don't yet have the results for the first quarter, but what I can say that the first thing that comes to my mind when I talk about the benefits of OKRs in general. So it brings a lot of centered focus. It gives us a focus that okay, and since we have regulations, guidelines that you need to have three objectives and see key results for each of the OKRs. So it brings your focus. A laundry list of activities are there, right? But you need one particular focus that my activities will revolve around this objective. So that gives a very, I think, bird's eye, not bird's eye view, that I'll say
Laser
when you,
focus.
yeah, you can target it directly and you can measure it. Gives you a measuring idea that okay, was I able to fulfill this key result? If I was able to fulfill this key result, I was able to fulfill my objective. So that the objective key results is has always been with us as Atomberg as well, right? We are core believers of OKRs. So because it brings a lot amount of focus, we can focus on three goals and we can fulfill them in the quarter, or we can plan. At least the planning phase is also very important, right?
Sure.
So that helps us.
That's a brilliant answer. That's really very helpful. And overall, for your in terms of the OKR program itself, and I'm going to come back on the Profit.co experience, but overall, in terms of your OKR program itself, in the coming quarters, so the first benefit that you realize is that it brings in laser focus for everybody, right? But in the coming quarters, what sort of benefits are you looking forward to achieving through the OKR program? What are your goals for the OKR program itself?
Right. So the idea to of having OKRs was first to bring focus, like you said, right? And the next one is to drive our vision through the OKRs. Our vision, for example, our purpose and vision would be in and around to solve the unsaid problems, right? So if are we fulfilling those items? Are we focused on that? So that would be our idea of having a very centered focus, and then the measuring it, that whether or not we are doing that, and on that, and then the long run idea is to also have a performance management system in place, right? So
Okay.
a very structured performance management system that we are planning to have from OKRs. And
Okay.
also we are the third thing that I can think of is that we are planning to align from top to bottom and bottom to top. Everything should be aligned. So the current with system with OKR is not exactly completely aligned, but we have in pipeline. We want to align everyone to the same goals, right? Which were driven towards the organization, of course, and also towards the individual.
Okay. Awesome. That's great. So the future plans are to improve alignment, and also you would like OKRs as one of the basis for your performance program, right? Maybe not exclusive, but once people are comfortable, then you would like to do that. Okay. Now, okay. So far, while implementing OKRs, any challenges? Again, not Profit.co specific, but for the OKR program itself. And you coming from a human resource department, right? Are you seeing any challenges in adoption? What are the lessons that Atomberg has learned so far while implementing OKRs? How to make it successful?
So then that'll be a bit long answer from my end, mostly because uh, we have been in this. I think we're still in the learning phase as well. But what we have evolved from in the first quarter, first of all, it was a new tool, right? The tool usage itself helped, took us some time, and making the entire employee strength understand that was something that took time, right? Apart from that, it was that creating a very strategic objective. The objective definition was something that was a big challenge for us. So what was happening that it was whatever the objective was sometimes given by some employees was a bit towards a transactional sort of For example, picking up a file from here and putting it there. So this should not be an objective. So, but I think there was a lot of help from Profit team when you people had shared some of the sample statements which can be used as objectives, right? So I think that was a big challenge for us, and then we have moved forward it. We have overcome it, and we have created strategic objectives and strategic key results at the same time. So some people were facing problems in having measurables in the objective. So this was a bit of a challenge, but we have evolved it. And thank you to Profit team for helping us out.
Sure, absolutely. And I think we are, we will go all out to support you even in the future, right? For whatever. Going to the last section of this discussion, your experience with Profit.co, right? If you can share, first, from Excel, you wanted to go to a tool, you decided. How was the selection process, right? How did that happen? How did you choose Profit.co? Why did you choose Profit.co at that point in time?
Okay, so I think this was done before I was into the system,
Okay.
but still, what I have in my understanding is basically, I think that is the process we follow. We do a benchmarking study. You do a benchmarking study, you understand which is the best that we have in the market, and then you get a demo, you have an understanding as to how it works, and if you really like it, you implement it. So that, I think that is the process we also followed. And I think the first day I was here, and the first day was the demo day. So in the first day itself, I was really amazed with the technology that Profit has implemented, with the lots of modules that are implemented. I mean, there's a lot you can do only on Profit.co, right? So that was, I think, the turning point for us, and wherein we decided that okay, this is final.
Okay, great, thanks. So you did a benchmarking, compared with competition, saw the product, saw that there's a lot it can do, and so you were quite impressed and you went about it. Great. And what was the onboarding experience, right, with Profit.co? Our people, the product, let's say, consulting, technical skills. How did you find Profit.co at that in the onboarding phase of it?
So the onboarding time was when we needed a lot of help, because it was new to us also. Because if we are the change makers, we are the change, we are going to implement Profit.co, we're going to help people. We should be the champions of Profit.co. So that took us a lot of time to. So we, our customers, your customer success manager was very helpful. We really took, I think we took 2 calls every week, and that was very grilling calls. We had a deep down understanding. We made them understand what does this do, what does that do, and then we went across and read. I think I've read a lot of Profit blogs, and that those blogs are really helpful. You can find, there is a ask my question module there. You can type in anything and you can get an answer for there. I mean, that has helped us a lot, and that is helping our employees currently as we speak, right? They have a lot of questions, so they can simply search and understand. So from the blog point, it has been helpful, and from the team, even if you something you can't find on the blog, your team is always helpful, right? And on the technical front, speaking on the technical front, we recently went ahead and did a Darwin and the Profit integration. So our Darwin is our Profit HRMS tool that we have. It has all the data of human resource, that whatever human resource that we have. So what we decided that we need to have a proper update of that. So that is still going on currently, and so that has been the technical team has been really supportive in that. Our emails get quick answers, right? So that's
Great.
good.
Great, awesome. So the onboarding process, you wanted support both from people as well as from content that Profit.co had, and that was pretty useful. Now, overall, after the onboarding phase was over, right? What has been the experience of people with the product? The usability, functionality. Right? What has been the feedback from your employees and other stakeholders?
Right. So as I said, collecting employee feedback is of primary importance, and we do give importance to that as well, because sometimes you get a lot of insight just by talking to an employee, right? And so initially, I'll say in the learning phase, it was a bit complicated, right, to them, because they were moving. Let's face it, they were moving from Excel to Profit. So it since the technology is high, they were basically finding some challenges as to how to go about it. There are so many modules there. So, but once we started the training, once we started having them and understand as to how to do it, so once they had hang of the system, they are completely okay with it, right? So that has been the learning phase for them also. So, but yeah, it's all great now.
Great. Thanks a lot, Ankita. Now, any other open questions or any other things that you would like to share with people who are going to be doing OKRs or using proper.co? Anything else you would like to share?
So I think the only thing I would want to share is basically this technology, I mean, should be there for every organization, right? So profit is something that is revolutionizing, that is in line with our, so since we are revolutionizing the entire home appliances department, right? If anyone is thinking about going for maybe an OKR tool, profit.co is the answer. They should go for it.
Okay, great. So thanks a lot, Ankita. It was an amazing discussion. Thank you very much for joining us.